Is it just me, or are we returning to the Art Defender's drinking pond too soon? It just feels like yesterday since I took that maddening task of a video on. I did say we would cover these when they came out on Global, so here we are. Anyway, I'm going to go through each of these modules and talk about my general impressions of them as someone who actually plans to use them frequently, as I have like no module blocks right now. Blame Mr. Kinofar over there. Let's tackle these modules in the same order I covered the operators in the original video, in which, well, basically means, well, I get to beat up my favorite dead Lupo again. Dernar's module is nothing special, just like, honestly, its main value is just going to be in the mod 1 as the mod X trait they all have gives them an extra kick in damage in the form of a 10%, which doubles as a minor Thorns buff. Glad to see they decided to make it a Thorns as well, as it helps them differentiate a little more from their cousin, the not so humble Artfire. As for what the module modifies, well, she only has one Nothing Burger talent, so it's modifying Jack and shit here. She already had a 7% modifier to her attack and defense at base, so at mod 3, it's only adding 5% more to those stats by making them 12%, so it's only 2% better than Swy's talent, because not all 4-star modules are allowed to shine, unlike my Goat Shiryuki's module. Now, despite what I said here, I would definitely get the module at max level, and that's simply because I'm a prescriber to the 4-star module is always great value train of logic. It's just always good value in terms of stats versus the resource costs. Yeah, she's worse than most 4-stars, and in IS, there's definitely more valuable Zero Hope defenders to recruit, but I think for the low price of your dignity and the price of a 4-star module, Donald's module is still worth the investment because you clearly have no D&D left if you have E-Tutor. No S2 though. That's still a really bad skill. Did you know before they announced these modules, the original Arts Defender script had a section for each defender while I proposed a module for them, even making a new talent if I felt like it was appropriate? Yeah, those modules were the reason why that video went through a major rewrite when these ones were revealed, and that was only the second time I had to rewrite that script. The first time was when Hoshi Breacher was revealed and made me scrap 4 pages of writing where I designed my owned 6-star Arts Defender using a pre-existing story NPC. Have fun guessing who that was before you scroll down to the description so you can read up more about that. But why am I bringing this up now? Well, it's because Asbestos's module was pretty close to what I proposed for her. Like, starting with the trait upgrade first, I feel like that Fawns is going to be more at home on her and Cerny than it will be on any other members, as they are, well, the members who lean more into the arts tank part of the arts tank DPS. Although I will admit, I kind of wish the Fawns was on the mod Y, mainly because that way we can separate the modules into arts DPS catering and arts tank catering. Yes, I did say it's nice that there is a way to help them differentiate themselves from art fighters, but with a class like Arts Protectors where they can clearly differentiate into 2 different playstyles, having 2 modules this early to help separate those identities a bit more will definitely help later down the line when it comes to designing future members. So, small thought turn tangent. Anyway, the talent modifications for this does help her a lot with the tanking part of her kit, as it's giving her an extra 2 res, and now she gains an extra SP whenever she gets hit by an arts attack. At mod 2, it's like 3 SP, and at mod 3, it's 4 SP, and I think mod 2 is more than enough. Hell, I would argue her mod 1 is already more than enough already. But at mod 2, that's already a significant decrease in her downtime, so a mod 3 just feels like overkill most of the time, in my opinion. I'm just probably just being silly, so if you are an asbestos enjoyer like me, get that mod 3 and enjoy outputting fireballs more often than before. Shaylin continues his streak of being the most goated welfare of all time with his module, because the man is apparently just the value generation machine. Not only does the mod 1 work for him as someone with 2 skills focused on multi-hitting, upping his DPS value here, the talent upgrades ups the chance of his res shred and its value at mod 2, because why the fuck not? Mod 2 gives him like an extra 5% to his application chance and his res shed. So with plots in mind, because welfare, it's a 40% chance to apply a 30% res shred with mod 3, making it a 45% chance on mod 3, of course. Once you count in S2 6 tuple hitting nature, This module basically turns him into the king of single target res shredding. He's just that goaded, and dare I say, single handedly carries the entire Male Knight niche on his back alongside Tragedia. I mean, sure, you guys already have Silver Daddy or PP, Stainless, and Piston, but come on, Sheehan is the real atlas of this niche, and 100% deserves that mod free. Still makes me sad that he's still getting cut by Playwright though. Mr. Plank of Wood is up next, who I still haven't built, but I'm glad to say that with Module, he has gotten a promotion from Plank to Log. Mr. Log does get a slightly justified reason to be deployed now when in non-arts focused missions with Mod 1, but like any good module, the mod fee cements him into the ultimate role of being an anti-arts tank. It's like a 30% increase in Fawn's value. He can reflect like 700 plus damage per hit, and this isn't even counting his trait fawns or his S2 stacking attack value. Like, bro is just the nuclear option when faced with any forms of arts damage, and it's great. Well, it doesn't buff his res stat, which he doesn't really need when he can just double his HP people on a whim. This module just helps excel at the one thing he really excelled at, sitting on his ass in the middle of the chaos, warded and unbothered, like the true tree he is. Hashiguma has a lot to live up to when it comes to this module, considering she found a way to improve on herself. Brings a lot of interesting mechanics to the game, and also is the reason why this subclass can even have their damn modules at last. With this said, it brings me great displeasure to say that this module does not live up to that, which I should have expected. When it comes to 6 stars, the first module is always kind of expected to flop, especially if they come on or close to their release, as devs don't really take their time to see the flaws in an operator's kit, to see what they can patch in as a fix, which is usually not a rule that applies to units they want to push, because then they just will make their release modules busted to push sales. Stop flashing the low loss delta on screen. Anyway, this is a well-known fact, seeing a lot of release 5 stars get fucked by this logic as well. And while Hoshi doesn't have it as bad as, let's say, Kiji say, they could have done better anyway. It's just a free extra attack boost if Hoshi reaches the maximum bonus on her battle stance talent, which is easy to achieve and it's actually good, but like also it's a real nothing burger. At best, I would say this module is a mod 2 right now because that's a extra 10% well extra damage, while mod 3 is just making it 15%, which is but let's be real, I don't think you should get this module. 6-star modules are expensive, and seeing that her eventual second module will most likely modify her main survival talent, I think it's safe to skip this if you need to be cheap with module blocks. But she could also just join the holy trifecta of banned from ever getting second modules alongside Shu, Stupid Drunkard, and Vulpes Folia, because we aren't allowed to have that much value. You know what? Let's just say wait 3 months, and if they don't announce her second module in that time frame, get this module. I think that's a good enough compromise in this situation. Anyway, there's your follow up to the Ask Defender video. Now, excuse me, but I have goals to complete and rivals to grind.